Well, I think a lot of people, or maybe not a lot of people, are aware of the marijuana frequency or cannabis frequency or the weed sound. And you can actually go on YouTube and find a lot of clips of the sound itself that's played at 30 hertz, 30 hertz. And I'm going to actually go over a couple other angles on this and other things. Maybe some of it's theoretical, but I can say I tried some of this stuff, and not talking about the weed itself, but I'm actually talking about the actual frequency. And I was unaware that I was actually getting that frequency, but it could be that I was. Actually, it's 30 hertz, the pure frequency used for marijuana effects. It was Dr. Meg Patterson. Now, I don't know how much this actually is true or not, but I don't think it's actually as strong as the real stuff. But she says she tested on patients exposed to 30 hertz, indicated the 30 hertz frequency would create feelings of being high on marijuana. Used as a sleep aid, vivid imagineering, imagery, and libido improvement. So it says it's replicate the effects of marijuana and produce the same feelings as being high on THC. 30 hertz. Euphoria, paranoia, and outer body experiences have all been reported from exposure to 30 hertz. Now, I'm going to state something else because a lot of people don't understand a lot of different things about these frequencies, and I'm going to go over a couple things here. 10 hertz. 10 hertz is enhanced release with serotonin and a mood elevator. It's also used like an anesthesiac where you don't have any pain, more or less. Now, I don't want to say that it works that good, but it's let me say this. If you're using 10 hertz, there's a relationship between 10 hertz and 30 hertz. If you're using 10 hertz, say for instance in a frequency generator or a zapper, and it's set on 50% duty cycle, which they're pretty much, that's just how they are. They're set at square wave, 50% duty cycle. Well, there's different octaves that it hits. In other words, 10 hertz will also produce 30 hertz. That'll be the second set of waves at a lesser amplitude, but that'll be the second one it hits. So it will hit 10 hertz, 30 hertz, 50 hertz, 70 hertz, 90 hertz, 110 hertz, descending. But the second one, 10 hertz, would hit is actually at 30 hertz. So you're actually getting the combined enhanced release of serotonin and mood elevator plus the 30 hertz with the effects of marijuana. So that's pretty powerful stuff, isn't it? Now, actually, I'm going to state a couple other things here because, I was into this. A lot of people that smoke weed and stuff. I mean, I know they're paying a pretty penny for this stuff, and it's not too cool for your lungs. Now, I'm actually going to state something else here because it is theoretical, but then it's not totally theoretical because I have been experimenting with the Beck blood electrification or Bob Beck designed zappers. I know he exaggerated as far as how powerful it is or how much it can do, but it does seem to have effect on things, and it seems to give you much improved energy. Now, this is one of the devices I use, and it's the only one I saw available that doesn't just have the 3.9 standard hertz setting. It has the 10 hertz setting, and I'm just going to state this. I've experimented with this. I use this every day for hours. And at one point in time, I was using two of these for about 14 hours or more a day. And at the 3.9 hertz, the half the Schumann Earth frequency. And no BS. I've experienced fantastically improved energy. Actually, one of the theories, I'm sidetracking a little more information on this marijuana frequency because there's a lot of areas you can get into with this. But I want to say something about this particular product because it does have the 10 hertz. But I was using it on a 3.9 hertz. It's labeled 4 hertz here, half the Schumann Earth frequency. I was using two of these for about 14 to 16 hours a day on ankle points and wrist points. And I read that it says it could actually improve the ATP production in the body, unclump the red blood cells, and improve the efficiency of moving the ATP in and out of the mitochondria of the cells and improve your energy. Well, I was very skeptical, and I tried it, but I tried it to an excess. I have to state that when you use this, I know it's a theory that it knocks out microbes, I don't think it's much of a theory. I think it's actually true. Maybe it doesn't do everything in the world that Dr. Beck said or Dr. Beck, PhD, said, but it does knock out microbes, but in my opinion. But I just want to warn people, if you go ahead and try something like this, start using it at 15, 20 minutes a day, and don't go, now I don't sell this stuff or anything, but I'm just saying I'm a user, I'm an end user. Don't go trying to do it like 2 hours a day or more. And outstanding, I got up to about 14 to 16 hours. But after a month, you work up to about 2 hours a day. You start at 10 to 15 minutes a day and take a month to get up to about 2 hours a day. Then you can go full tilt and pretty much run it as much as you can. It's just that it's a nuisance to keep this on and go on with your daily activities and stuff. But it does improve your energy like mad. Now, I use the 10 Hertz setting, and I realized it was also the 10 Hertz is this is the only one I saw with the Bob Beck blood electrifier that is 10 Hertz also. Now, I don't use the 40 Hertz much. I don't know. I just don't like that setting. I like the 3.9 Hertz and the 10 Hertz. But the 10 Hertz, even though the manufacturer doesn't say anything about this, he doesn't want to make any claims on this, it's probably pretty good information that the 10 Hertz, it does, besides, what the effects that Bob Beck talked about or some helpful removal of microbes, enhances the release of serotonin and a mood elevator. Now, you don't put this through your brain at all. You don't do this through your brain at all. It's through the wrist and the ankle points especially. But I turned it up a little bit where I could actually feel the thumping. So my mind was aware of the frequency because I could feel the frequency thumping at 10 Hertz. But when you're using, that device is at 50% duty cycle. It's a square wave. So the next frequency it hits in the other band of frequencies, which will be, the next strength frequency, it would be actually the 30 Hertz. So when you set that Bob Beck electrifier on 10 Hertz, you're actually producing enhanced release of serotonin and mood elevator, plus the alleged marijuana frequency that Dr. Meg Patterson said it was the correct frequency for it. So you're actually getting both of them. Plus, you're actually improving your energy levels in your blood. Now, I'm going to state I was highly skeptical of doing that, but I found that it did work. I heard a lot of testimonials that it did this and it did that, and testimonials are here and there or there. I mean, it's like testimonials. What do they really mean, right? Because they're not tested by the actual medical community per se. But what I'm stating is that it's the medical community can if they actually tested this device, I think they would come up with the same conclusions. Because there's too much anecdotal evidence and testimonies that the device seems to actually improve your energy level. But what I started thinking is, why not get the effects of the marijuana high a little bit and the serotonin release at the same time as doing a blood electrification and helping to remove some minor removal of microbes. It supposedly stuns the microbes for a little bit of time, and it'll unstick the blood to help improve your energy levels. So I thought it'd be a better method and a much cheaper method than actually smoking weed, but but to hell, right? Now I just want to put something else out here because it's well, there's something else I want to go over because it's actually with mind control per se, and it's due to this. This is actually somewhat of it is a related topic because this was called, if you look at this global map, this is actually coming from Russia, right? And I know a lot of people in the United States are into the stuff like the NSA is trying to conspire, maybe they are, and the CIA is trying to conspire against the population. I don't know, maybe they are, but it's not the only place in the world that's trying to conspire against the American population. This was actually a diagram of the over-horizon, they call it the over-horizon radar, which was called the Russian woodpecker signal. It was first picked up in the early 70s, I think, and it stopped around 1989 before the dissolution of the final dissolution of the Soviet Union, and then it came back again in 2013. Well, what's interesting about this signal, now The vast majority of this signal is at 10 hertz. 10 hertz, again, that number that is talked about, that is improves serotonin release and elevates. It's almost like an anesthetic, because it makes people, they get so much serotonin. Well, let me put it to you this way. You might say, you might argue some weed's good, right? You might argue that a shot of bourbon or a shot of whiskey or a shot of vodka is good. But is there a limit where it's not good? Yeah, you can almost say that even with plain water. Water, you want to drink plenty of water, right? Maybe you want to drink plenty of water. I'll give you an example that something probably you would think the most safe substance is in the world is, and that's vital to life. But you can actually die from drinking too much water, right? Well, the thing is with this Russian woodpecker signal, which is actually on 10 hertz, is constantly being emitted over the United States. It's actually coming from 2 locations, and it actually converges over the United States. So it's almost like I would say it almost probably works like one side is one beat as one side, the other side is the other beat, and it converges on 10 hertz. So in effect, I think it works almost like the 50% duty cycle square wave deal. And what does that mean? The next octave up is the 30 hertz. But if you're exposed to this stuff 24 hours a day, 365 days a week, is that not making the population somewhat lethargic? So sometimes you wonder about people being lethargic in the United States. Maybe it's not because they smoke too much weed or something. I'm not criticizing this person for doing this, but I have no idea. But what I'm saying is, if everybody's subjected to too much of something, as the population as a whole, maybe, just maybe, this is why nobody really cares about what's going on, right? Because it's almost like you talked about the dumbed down population. Well, maybe that's what's going on. It could be what we call mind control, right? Mind control. And, it's not just, like somebody partakes in a little bit of weed, that's one thing. But, when people partake in weed, aren't being subjected to it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, there are a few people that are subjected to it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you can see pretty much what happens to those people. But what's going on with this Russian woodpecker signal, it's going on all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So, it's kind of interesting that this is occurring. So I wanted to point this out because it's too much of a beneficial thing, and I don't think it's a beneficial thing if it's coming from Russia. Now, they actually said this was considered to be just an over-horizon type radar, but also, what I mentioned, this blood electrifier device or blood zapper, whatever it is, developed by Dr. Bob Beck. He was actually the first. He's not a medical doctor, he's a PhD, but he was actually working with the Defense Department about regarding this Russian woodpecker signal, and he highly suspected it was a type of population brainwashing or something, or affecting the minds of people. But when you start looking at what the 10 hertz does, enhanced release of serotonin and mood elevator, it also works like an anesthesia, where you don't feel any pain or you don't care. It's like, yeah, you might want a little bit of this. It's just like, yeah, maybe you want a shot of bourbon, you want a shot of vodka, you want a shot of whiskey, but you don't want to be constantly drinking from the bottle all day because it'll screw you up, right? It's like everything in balance. But, there's something that's beneficial. But what's going on with this woodpecker signal, if it's coming from 2 different areas from Russia, it's having that almost like positive negative square wave beat, I would almost think. And it's a little bit of a theory I'm putting out on that. But it could be hitting this 30 hertz also, which is alleged to be the marijuana frequency. Now, you might think it's a good, but you know what? Too much of a good thing is bad. Just like you can even have too much water, and it could screw you up. So, I want to put out this thing. We actually have, I don't know, maybe a potential problem here too. But I was going to put this out as like a lighthearted thing more, but it looks like, the more I delved into this, it could be a potential problem actually coming from a nation across the world. They've actually done this. Actually, I should point out about that Russian woodpecker signal too. when this thing was going in the 70s, it stops. I think it was in the late 70s when we had the power outage in the Northeast. It was the largest blackout they had in the late 70s. I forgot the exact year, but the Russian woodpecker signal stopped before that happened, and there was this big aurora light or something that formed in the sky, and then right after that, the power outage happened in the Northeast. So it could be a weapon, it could be mind control, it could be not just over the horizon radar. But I wanted to put that out in this video because there's a lot of different aspects to this marijuana frequency where it's being used against us and it can be used for us. Now, I like the absolute usage of this device because, this was developed by Dr. Bob Beck. Now, the vendor does not make any claims on the serotonin release, and he certainly makes no claims on the marijuana frequency, or that but it is a fact that when you're using 10 hertz, the second level of secondary frequencies where you have the next level of amplitude will be at 30 hertz. So this does produce both. When you put this on 10 hertz, it produces both 10 hertz and 30 hertz, actually. And if you look back, I got this right off. This is right off all the best consolidated frequency lists and all the best information as to what 10 hertz actually does. It's enhanced release of serotonin and a mood elevator. Now, you don't put this through your brain. You don't put any of these frequencies through your brain. Those are specialized devices you can use for that, where it can help improve your memory. You do not use this device for that ever. But I do realize that when I can actually feel the thumping of the pulsing on the wrist or the ankle points, I'm aware of the pulsing, and my mind is aware of the pulsing. And from my experience, I liked using the 10 hertz setting. It made me feel better for some reason, besides not just energy-wise, but mood-wise. And it may be because it is hitting 10 hertz, but it's also because it's hitting this 30 hertz, which is alleged to be by Dr. Meg Patterson that it is the marijuana frequency. Now, it's not going to be strong as marijuana. It's going to be more like, I guess a euphoric type, frequency or something. It's going to be much less than that. But she also says that it's not to be used while you're operating machinery and that type of stuff, so you don't want to be doing this all the time. But I found that when you're using it you're using the hertz with the blood electrification, it's kind of like a combination of having good feelings plus more energy. And that's what's pretty freaky about it. So it's not like you're just lethargic and you're having good feelings and you're having serotonin and you're feeling euphoria, but you're also having more energy because it's unclumping the red blood cells, which is allowing the ATP production to go on much more efficiently in and out of the cells. Now, I tested that theory a lot, and I've heard a lot of testimony on that about it unclumping the red blood cells and allowing ATP production to go on more efficiently and improve energy efficiency. Pretty much the common testimonial of the Bob Beck blood electrification is people seem to feel better. That's one thing they say, and the hertz doesn't matter. I just found that this one device, though, there's only one manufacturer that makes this, he has a 10 hertz setting on the actual Bob Beck blood electrification. They're normally all 3.9 hertz. He's got it labeled as 4 hertz because he just rounded it off, but it's actually 3.9 hertz, half the human Earth frequency. But I did find that when I experimented using 2 of these devices, I think I'm the only person that freaking did this for about at least 14 hours a day for about a month, and my energy levels were fantastic. It's just that it's a nuisance to do that much. And they were fantastic. So I think it really does help improve the ATP production of the body, and that might be something interesting to do if you're actually into athletics, because you want to have more energy and stuff, to use this quite often. But you have to work up to it. I should say that caveat again. You have to work up to those lengthy times, because even though this is not an approved medical device and they're telling you there's no scientific information to substantiate that it does actually help the body to it does actually stun microbes and help the body to remove the microbes and stuff. I think it actually does, because if you try to do this too much, you will have so many wasted little microbes in your body. They'll be like dead, and they'll be giving off toxins, and you'll actually feel bad. So you got to do it slow. You got to it's all theoretical because it's not approved by the medical community, but it's been out now for about, I guess 20 years or more, and it's like there's loads of testimony that people have more energy and they feel better. But what I've pointed out is that this one has the 10 hertz. The 10 hertz, and like I said, the second level up, the other set of waves, next set of waves that 10 hertz makes when it's on 50% duty cycle, square wave, is 30 hertz, which is the marijuana frequency. So you're getting both the marijuana frequency and the enhanced release of serotonin. So, that could probably save you a lot of money, and actually at the same time make you feel good, and save you a lot of money versus smoking weed and killing your lungs or whatever, and actually making you feel good. You're not going to have any carcinogens in your lungs, and you'll be getting rid of microbes, and you'll have a lot more energy besides having that euphoric feeling. So I have experimented with this device, and actually it's my testimony that the 10 hertz does seem to make you feel better and enhance your mood. I never realized exactly why. I knew part of the reason why, but as I knew some of this information, I guess now for a couple of years, that about the second level, the 30 hertz. But I figured I'd put it out here and share it, because I think there's nothing on YouTube that actually explains all this information. But as I said, too much of a good thing is bad, because what is going on with the woodpecker signal is kind of like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year. And it's like, this woman's not smoking a joint every freaking day or sleeping with a joint, like burning incense or something, burning joints at night or something, so she breathes the fumes all. It's like you're doing it once in a while, right? But when you're subjected to it all day, every day, 365 days a week, it probably is harmful, and maybe that's what's going on with that Soviet signal. It's probably